Ready for takeoff. Are we ready for takeoff?
You only heal for half your life, 'cause there's no afterlife. Space is a time continuum, and that's only when the math is right. So poverty ain't enough, so meals inside a cup, given to broken kids that we got from the afterlife. Time has no existence, 'cause race is just the repentance. And abortion is immoral is what they say with broken fences. But black children with dreams only dream about existence. Then the white virus came. This is before Earth and spacemen. They said that we have the weapons, and that is probably melanin. Pelicans flying over the ocean to bring mental men. The Earth is slowly bleeding, and the heart, it won't let them in. Waiting for the mothership. It's in melanin, and weapons more advanced than anything that a broken country of a whore could want. Broken fronts in front of storefronts, they make black bodies fold and scream fonts like broken croissants. My sons don't want 7 shots in a body of 1.
Are we ready for takeoff? Are we ready for takeoff? Are we ready for takeoff? Ready for takeoff.
We're not against rap. We're not against rappers. But we are against those.
Something big about to happen. I hear the beat tapping. We some fly rhyming felines rapping on the track. Better yet, grab a gat, 'cause we hot like Enzo. Doors closed, windows up, 'cause that's the way we like to ride. Windy City hitting. Check mic 1 2 1 2. We live, baby. Wait. 1. Hey, Chicago, and welcome back to Speak Your Mind Radio. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Queen Star, aka Miss Hip Hop. And today, y'all, we have a really dope guest in the house. He's from Memphis, Tennessee. He's a vocalist, a rapper, an actor, a film director, and a Billboard Charting Recording Academy member. And y'all, he is you're welcome. And he is a Guillain-Barre Syndrome survivor. And we're going to get into that. But so right now, bring it to the mic. Step into the mic. Feel me? We got Big Swahili. What's up, man?
How y'all doing? I'm talking loud like this because this is how everybody who grew up in the 90s talk when they was introduced on air. I'm talking like this by extending my vocals right now. How are you doing, Star? How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Marco.
Let me tell y'all about her. I don't know if anybody did this about her right now. This young lady, alone with her questions at Lincoln University, was all the rave. I couldn't wait to see a paper drop, and I pick it up and I look at it, and I just look at the articles and look at what she was doing. She kept the energy of LU stable, and when she left,
damn,
the media department ain't been the same since. The media department ain't been the same since. Star, wow. I'm glad you found your voice and you're developing a voice for others. Congratulations to yourself. You deserve the full Kente stroke.
Thank you, Marco. Thank you, Big Swahili. My bad. You know what I'm saying? Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's freaking awesome. Like, I don't know. Thank you for the Kente stroke. I needed that. Thank you.
Hey, you know what? It's all about giving people the stroke. That's it. You know, we got to encourage each other as Black people and Black patrons of Black culture and society in the white world that is still Black people. We have to encourage and uplift one another to the fullest, and that's the reason why I'm pushing my whole Kente stroke methodology and trying to encourage everybody to make that their motto and just, peace and love and happiness. That's why we love Soul Train, Star. We love Soul Train because when you finish watching every episode, peace, love, and happiness. That's a serious thing. And sending this type of message, what you're sending, that's what we need. We need that message that always ends on a good note. It was never a bad episode of the Soul Train.
Wow. Indeed. I concur on so many levels, for sure. Yes. Well, Big Swahili, on Speak Your Mind, we start off every interview with an icebreaker question for the guest. So you ready?
I'm ready. I'm always ready.
Okay. What superpowers do you wish you had as a child?
Oh, you about to go down a whole rabbit hole now. Here we go. You about to find out the whole DC character formation.
Dang.
Well, the superpower I wish I could have was to be omnipotent or omnipotent or omnipresent. That was a power I always wish I could have, and I still wish I could have now, by the way. But it's a power of being omnipresent. Like, I'm everywhere at once. I'm all that I need to be in everything. There's nothing or nowhere. I am the embodiment of existence. And that was a power that it was looked at as not being cool, right? I was thinking of an adult power. Somebody else would be like, oh, lightning, fire, shit like that. I'm like, no, I want to be existence. So that was the power.
That's beautiful, Marco. I mean, Big Swahili, that's why I look at you as, though.
And hard niggas run up with the just let off. At the same time, being with my family.
Yes, indeed. I see that in you, though, for real. That's some real talk right there. You silly. Okay, Big Swahili, why don't you tell the listeners and the viewers, since we're recording on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Pandora, and YouTube, and just god dang everywhere. Why don't you tell the viewers and the listeners out there today a little bit about who Big Swahili is and how did you get into the entertainment industry?
Oh, okay. I have a nice little story for this. So first I was Black Grits. I've been Black Grits because as a kid I didn't have identity in what I was doing creatively, right? And so I called myself one day Black Grits. And it was because a homeless guy used to call me Black. So folks who grew up with me knew me as Black. The Grits came because I was sitting outside of working with my grandfather. Growing up, I hung around all of my granddads. Wow. So, but Grandpa Willie, Key, the farmer, blue collar guy, 3 different retirements and stuff, Railroad, Bensberger Glass Company. That's who I had in my life at the time as another male figure. I mean, I had a stepdad, but this guy was, the bloodline male that outside of my other uncles. So I was the closest nephew living near my grandfather, closest grandson. And so I would go and work with him. And he would take me to these houses. He was always about building up the community with these, right? Yeah. He would go into the poorest areas in Memphis and he would gut out the house. He would point out the improficiencies of white construction companies. He said, you see these piping? They put this piping in here because it's cheap. They put this piping in here because of this. These are lead pipes. We don't use these in my houses. They put this in here because it's going to get the job done. That's it. He said, and I remember we were gutting them out of these poor houses and stuff. And I was like, man, this is when I was really ignorant as a kid, 16 years old. Like, why the hell are we out here helping these folks? They just going to tear up the houses. And he looked me in the eyes and he said, and this is going to lead to the grits. He looked me in the eyes and he said, a person's condition shouldn't deteriorate or mean that they need less. And this uneducated man, classically educated, he's classically educated. These, right?
Yes.
Agriculture, real estate, owns 400 or so acres as a Black man in Mississippi. And so anyway, working at one of his houses, one day I went to the store, and in Memphis, it was the store that, the stores in the South, they sell food plates and everything that that you just walk in there and buy high food. Like, you want a sausage sandwich, fried fresh, you might find it in Memphis. You want ribs, nigga, they got ribs at the store. So I walk to the store. This is my combination. I got me a whole bunch of hog maws. I'm a country guy, whole bunch of hog maws. Hey, they were good. They were delicious.
I bet.
And it had some grits, some butter, and that was my lunch, because we do hard work and you eat heavy in the morning and at lunch.
Okay.
That was my lunch, and so I was sitting there, finished cutting all these yards, helping put lay carpet and replace flooring, and I was eating in grits and hog maw. And my grandfather is the only elder in my family who called me a nickname, and it was Grits.
Cool.
So yeah, and that's a story I really don't tell a lot of people, because it was the I don't want to get all emotional, but that was the first time that I had received any type of confirmation on who I was based off of something I was doing. If that makes sense.
It does. So
to be able to hear an elder of yours say, "Hey, Grits," right? Not Marco.
Right.
Grits. Around all these other workers and these other Mexican workers, and it was some from Nigeria or whatever, because
Cool.
he pull up to Home Depot and they all hop in, and he'll pay them. He said, "I pay the best," and they know I pay better than everybody when they work with me. And he was just putting me on game, like, I could run the city if I will, but he'll pull up, and when everybody else was just giving these guys like $25 a day to work, I've seen my grandfather count out 100 for a day's work.
Wow.
And it was hard. But some people weren't even, as immigrants fresh in the country, he built up his team he built up what he has by building up others around him. Beautiful. And so when he was able to give me a name, he built me up. So Black Grits are both two significant names, but that wasn't the music. That wasn't my music. It was never, it's just the nickname I had, and the name I gave myself because of the sentimental values of those characters written on paper, and or the verbs or the nuances of it, saying it is Black Grits. This is me from my environment, right? Not me creatively. Mm-hmm. Big Swahili came because my daughter and I were joking around, and I sent her a song, and she was like, "It's like you're speaking in Swahili." I said, "It's because I'm big Swahili. I'm speaking big Swahili. Y'all don't understand because you're not there yet." And and to give background on that, why that's special is because that's the first time my daughter and I were able to engage in a conversation about what we both do creatively. And she's 12 years old, and so that was like unique. Of course, she paints. She draws, she writes stories, and she has characters. Like, she's developed, and I told her, I said, "Sweetheart, you're developing your own creative universe. The universe is in your hands." Yeah, and that's why it's kind of hard to get rid of now creatively. My daughter helped me with my name. So that's how Big Swahili. And that's why I came here to bring the universe the Kente stroke. I asked you if you was ready for the Kente stroke. You said
I wasn't ready. I'm always ready.
Like, you getting everybody. If you got a neighbor, you turn to your neighbor and you say Kente stroke. That's what you do.
Right.
We got to empower each other by giving everybody the gospel of the Kente stroke. You build in the environment, you don't take their environment and tear it down. You build up people to be in that environment. You ever went to a nice ass restaurant and you change the way you act?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? And some people don't understand what I'm saying because some people ain't really a 5-star or diamond rated, right? So you go to a diamond restaurant, everybody's doing this, everybody's talking, whispering, they're talking. It's very, very, very monotonous sometimes talking. "Oh, that's great, Jack, that's cool." And I'm looking at white boy Jake like, "Nigga, you faking right now. We don't talk like this when we eat, nigga." And he's like, Marco, you know, I'm just following the flow, bro. I'm like, yeah, okay, I understand. And then you conform to it because it's a sense of being better, even though I could be in there like, hey, y'all ain't got no chicken, nigga. And then everybody's turning around, plates drop like, oh. And they probably would have done that if I said, hey, I need some water. Right? And that's the thing, because that environment. So you ever walk in a fancy house? You can't do shit in a fancy house that you do inside like your frat house or your party college house, right?
Right, true.
You can't do stuff like that there. And that's the thing. Putting people in better environments. And that's what my music is. My music, I'm presenting something that I believe everyone deserves. That's what my creativity is visually. That's what my stories are. I believe everybody deserves to be exalted in some sort of way. And everybody deserves an environment better than where they are. Because you won't know better sometime unless you put yourself in an environment. And let me define the environment. Sometimes environment is, your environment can be words. Like how earlier I said, you know, how I got my names. It was the environment for the name were the words and the relationships and the definition behind it. I didn't know. I've gotten better because of those interactions. And so that's how an artist gets his name that he didn't want. And now this goes into how an artist better develops himself and his name.
Exactly.
Hopefully I'm not taking up all our time here.
No, not at all. That's why we're here, so you can tell your story, Big Swahili.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You did touch on everything that I asked you. You know, I asked you to describe, you know, to the viewers and the listeners who you are to the entertainment world. And I think that is a beautiful and powerful story that you told, especially a lot of people may not know this, but I'll put it in the perspective that I understand. So me being from Chicago in the streets, you feel me? Like, I'm going down the street like that, but my environment was the streets. Some people that come from the streets, they don't have a self of identity. You feel me? So when I watched this one documentary, This is Strange, it created like a mindset in me that if you don't know who you are at any age, you're not going to move past this stagnant level of creating who God wants you to be. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That makes a lot of sense. Yes, heck yeah.
Because your grandfathers, and I think that's a wonderful, beautiful story for you to be so close to your grandfathers who are even more closer to God because they've had experience on this earth and they work with their hands, and you at a young age was helping them. So he gave you your first nickname, Grits, and that became very powerful. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't the last name that was going to be given to you, because when you were a kid, your superpowers was to be omnipotent, everywhere, existence. And that's exactly what you're doing. So which brings me to my next question that I want to ask you. How does it tell your story of you being a GPS, not GPS, y'all, GBS survivor?
GBS.
Explain, because I know what it is. I did my research, but to me, I feel like I barely scratched the surface. I want to hear it from your mouth and what happened.
So we're approaching the anniversary of me having Guillain-Barre, or GBS. It's coming up in a couple of weeks. On the 27th.
Wow.
Would be the anniversary from last year. What ended up happening was, and this is going to shine light up on how they treat Black men in the medical field when it comes time for them to actually get help. I went to 3 different hospitals and 3 different doctors before I was finally diagnosed by another minority doctor who listened. It started in like August last year. I started having tingling, weakness in my hands. I even got like a scrunchy ball hand eczema size thing and whatever. And at the time I was working at Centerpoint Hospital. I loved working there, by the way. It was a great environment. I had a great boss. Like, my director was amazing. Pretty much anywhere in mental health, all my directors have been amazing. So I would use that and try to strengthen my hands, and it wasn't working too well. And one day I was like, let me do push-ups. I was just keeping myself awoke. I want to drink my coffee, and I got down and tried to do a push-up. Now, Star, you know me. Back in the day, I actually had 6-pack, probably 8-pack coming in, right? So I used to be very fit.
Yes.
So been doing a push-up wasn't an issue. So I got down and I was like, okay, let me do one. I couldn't do it. The next week, this whole left arm was just starting getting tingling and numb.
Oh,
now, I was thinking at the time, because I was working 2 full-time jobs, making that Skrilla, you know what I'm saying? I enjoyed both of my jobs, and I was working 16 hours a day. That was the goal. I was going to have my lady be at home just to be a mother. That's what I wanted for my queen. And what ended up happening was I was thinking, I was like, man, I'm having a stroke. So I went to the hospital, the first hospital, which was Capital Region. Went there, and the doctor did some tests, asked some questions, and not even joking, in 30 minutes, I was out the door with a $800 bill.
Damn.
And I was like, okay, maybe it's me, maybe it's stress, and whatever. So, and mind you, I'm still working, I'm still doing my thing. And I go, I'm trying to wave at everybody who's joining here. I go, and I ended up, basically going to the doctor the next week. And I was like, something's not right. I'm feeling painful now. Now it's starting to hurt. Now my feet are numb. My hand tips and everything are numb, right? And then I go there, and it was about the same thing. I don't know what it is. And I went to another hospital. And the last one at that point was, before I went to St. Mary's, was Boone. And when I went to Boone, the younger doctor, it's a research hospital collective, so beware of research hospitals. But he was basically saying he doesn't understand what's going on with me. At that point, it came all of the arms right here, all of the arms. It stopped at all the joints.
Oh, wow.
And I'm going to tell you how I think I'm going to tell you, I'll explain why I think God spared my life.
Okay.
And why I know that the universe spared my life, because how Guillain-Barre works. I had these symptoms for 2 months. The last day I'm at work, left side of my face just drops. Now, Amber, the nursing supervisor, was there. Amazing mother, amazing lady, amazing person. Was a little concerned because I wasn't as talkative. I wasn't as walking around, doing my usual stuff. I was just, I popped in her office and just talking to her, and she said, blow with your lip, do that, right? And I can barely do it now. And so I was, spit's coming down, and I'm like, oh, what the heck's going on? I thought I was literally having a stroke. So she checked me out.
Yeah.
Blood pressure and stuff was cool, but she insisted, you're going to the hospital. Same thing with Brianna. So I took a picture and I sent it to my wife, Brianna, and she was like, no, you're going to the hospital directly.
Wow.
This is when I say my life was spared. Got in the car, I could barely drive.
What?
My legs were weak. Arms were weak. It happened rapidly. The tingling was all over. The pain was excruciating, but it was only getting worse. Get to the house. I'm like, all right, let's go. And I said, look, I think I need to take a bath or something. I don't want to go in there and my balls, I reek of balls. No nurse wants to deal with the smell of Afro-American balls in the ER. Trust me, no one wants to deal with that. You don't want to deal with Afro-American ball smell. It sounds racist if I was a white guy saying that. If I was a white guy who said that on national television or on air, everybody would be like, that's just racist. Why would he say that? Well, the fact is, no one wants to smell Afro-American balls in the ER. But so I was in the shower, and we had some steady hot water. I didn't realize how hot it was. So that was my first indication. Then I get to the kitchen because I need something to lean against to put my pants on. Couldn't put my pants. This is the same morning. Within an hour of me getting off of work, I couldn't put my pants on. Walking outside to the car, I had to stop. Bree helped me to the car. We get in the car. Outside in the parking lot, I'll never forget this as long as I live. Because we Black And we through trauma and through concern, we use comedy and conversation as a healing mechanism.
Yes.
Or not to worry.
Yes.
Me and Brianna, we can engage in great conversation as a form of relief from a lot of things. Conversation can be better than sex if you got the right person.
No, that's true.
And so I was like, watch us get in here and it's named after two white guys. And I made up something Fitzgerald disease or something like that. And we were laughing. We laughed. We went in the hospital. I explained the symptoms. The nurse at the station immediately had a room ready. Walked us in, did the vitals. They streamlined the vitals because the symptoms were just so unusual. I was naming everything, and then I was like, I don't know if it's a stroke because, you know, the numbing of the arms and stuff. And so then we get back there, and I'm like, another white doctor is not going to listen to me. The doctor, Dr. Roach, I think his name was. The doctor comes in, he listens, right? And I'm telling him my symptoms. Same thing I've been telling everyone else. This time it's like the strength has diminished even more. I call my supervisor. Well, I text her like, hey, this was going on in the hospital. And I was barely able to grip the phone and text. Bree had to handle some of that for me. And the doctor came back. He says, what's going on again? Like he was just gathering bits of information. This time he came back with a fucking pad. This is how I knew it was serious.
Yeah, man.
And so he hopped on their database, got in contact with the neurologist. He did groundwork for me. He did what I hadn't seen any other doctor do, from my room to their stations. I'll see the doctors walk around, do stuff, and come back and, oh, nothing. You know, just trolley stress. This doctor, And so he came in and he's like, I'm deliberating right now. I'm consulting with a specialist. And the nurse comes in there. And, you know, nurses, I fucking love nurses. Like, nurses are, like, amazing.
So,
they really keep... Yeah. And I love when she came in there. She was like, it's something like, you know, something. She probably thinks it's Guillain-Barre. You guys don't want to Google that. And she leaves out. Because she had me dress out. No. And then she said, and I'm like, oh my God, what do you think we're going to do? So Bree's like, what is it again? Like, you know, Bree's trying to look it up. He comes in there and he says, I think we're going to have to do a spinal tap on you. And I'm like, all right, shit, nigga, it ain't no thing. Let's do it. Well, let me tell you about a fucking spinal tap. They take this needle, and it's a nice size needle. It's a cool looking needle, and they insert that motherfucker in between your little lumbar or whatever, the muscles in the fucking back on the spine, and they go in between the spine and they puncture your the spinal sac with all the juicy gooey fluid. And they siphon that in order to test the protein count in the spine, to see if there was protein in the spinal fluid. Now, let me tell you about spinal fluid. Spinal fluid looks like if heaven could rain and we could catch it in a crystal bowl, you wouldn't be able to see it, even if it was full. That's how clear spinal fluid is. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
Like, we are the androids put on Earth. We are the machines. We everything about us is built is symbiotically to adapt, regardless. And so when I saw that was just confirmation that we have the light in us. That's a whole other conversation.
Wow.
But the internal medicine doctor, another white guy. The other doctor, I think, was Jewish or whatever, but the internal medicine doctor.
Marco, Big Swahili.
You
kind of broke up for a second, and then you came back in.
Oh, okay.
Yes, now I can.
Okay. What I leave off where it break up at?
You were talking about the spinal fluid being extra clear and how we're androids put on Earth and how we adapt to the atmosphere.
Oh, yeah. And so, that was just my confirmation for everything. And man, I think I picked up talking about how the new doctor came in and he waited till the other doctor leave, and he's the doctor whose floor I'm going to, and he says he doesn't think it's what they're saying it is because of the length of time that I had these symptoms. And I think he wasn't agreeing to me going to his floor, which means I would have had to go home. And good thing that didn't happen, right? So the neurologist comes in, and the neurologist had me sent to the OR so they can use the machine to find all the spots where they can insert 2 needles. I got 3 other needles put in me, 2 other needles. It was 2 because the first one was the first one. And I had 2 other ones, and they drew more spinal fluid out. Number had climbed again. So that's how they tell. That's one of the confirmations if to see what it is, the other confirmation. Yeah. And the neurologist said, it's a good thing we did that because these numbers would have quadrupled either in a couple of hours or by next week, and it would have been too late. So they bring me upstairs. They have me admitted into the hospital. I'm in the hospital at this time. And at that moment, within those 4 hours, I had deteriorated to the point to where I could barely lift my body up. And the neurologist immediately got on the phone. I'm hearing this old Indian guy, Dr. Hushman, saved my life, and Dr. Rhodes. Get on the phone. He's yelling. He doesn't care who needs the IVIG. We need it here now. I want it now. He's a little Indian. I want it now. If it's not here, I'm hearing them out there. I'm laying in bed like, shit, what the fuck going on?
Right.
I'm still just trying to focus on general things. And so not even 4 hours or 5 hours from the time I was admitted, they already had a courier coming from St. Louis and Kansas City with my doses of medication I needed, told Bree, and that's how I knew it was serious.
Yes.
I was like, whatever's wrong with me. And I hadn't really looked up Guillain-Barre. I was nervous. I went to Brianna left the room so I could tear up because I was trying to use my phone to make sure my affairs were together. Like her name's on what it needs to be on. I called my bank at one point. Like if there's an emergency happened, I have her. I think I already had her listed at the point, not as a joint, but like as somebody who's who would be a beneficiary. And I'm making sure that everything is updated. Insurance company. I had like 3 insurance policies on my life. Before then, because I'm a responsible guy, but it just really made me up them. I upped them because of that. I was like, no, fuck that. I gotta up this. My sons, I got a daughter, I got a wife, First dosage hit my body, 9 o'clock sharp. Soon as it came in, the courier was walking all the way upstairs with the pharmacist, making sure the stuff was together and everything was checked out. I guess there was the pharmacist who stayed behind for the sake of me. I guess it was a boring time at the hospital. I'm saying it was a boring time. No. So once they got everything signed off on, I don't know what else they had to do. Nurse came in there. I love nurses. And administered the first dosage. And it was a fast drip. It was coming into me. And I'm talking about, I felt all of that pain intensify. That was the first time as a man. I didn't holler. I screamed.
Wow.
I screamed a scream of despair.
Oh God.
And it was a lot. The scream of despair is it's the scream you hear when someone you're trying to save dies in front of you.
Oh
and you
God.
love them. And it's not like a regular death. It's a death that is horrible. And that's the only way to explain the scream. It's that scream you do that's silent, but you hear it, but mine was silent, and then I tried to hold it in, and then it just got the pain. It feels like you're being electrocuted. It feels like you're being electrocuted, beat up really bad, and you can't move. It started to progress in my back then. So this is when the time, mind you, I had all these symptoms for 2 months. And this day, for whatever reason, the Guillain-Barre was let's go. And it shut down everything to where I was trying to do this, raise my head up. I couldn't. Now that's when it gets into your chest, and how it kills you is it shuts down all that vital shit. All the involuntary stuff that you do right now and you're enjoying, it shuts that down. The ability to hold your poop shuts down. The ability to hold your urine or feel that you have to urinate.
Whoa.
Because me, it took away that feeling of urination. I didn't know if I had to go to the restroom. I didn't know. I didn't know if you were poking me with a needle or a knife. I didn't know. I didn't know if it was your finger. I didn't know. I couldn't even feel the pressure, you know? He would hit my knees and no reflex. And that's Miller-Fisher syndrome added in. So when you have that's Miller-Fisher syndrome, when it shuts down your joints, all your reflexes. So when that happened, it was just horrible for me. And I hopped in a support group and I realized that a lot of people died. Outside of this, let me tell you why I had a whole issue with vegans and woke motherfuckers, because everybody be acting like they're a fucking a scientist or a doctor when they hear about your diagnosis. I start having people, well, you know, because you eating the meat and there's mucus in the meat. Like, motherfucker, that's not what the fuck it is. Or people will read.
Marco, I can't hear you. No, it's like frozen, like for real. I don't know what to do.
Go to Mayo Clinic. They'll type in when I posted what it was. Everybody was hitting me up. Oh, you could probably my connection. Here, let me see. Am I good now?
Yes. I hope it's not. I don't think it's my connection, but yeah.
Well, so I'm good right now.
Yes.
Is it mine? Mine's good.
Yeah, yours is good now. You were talking about the woke motherfuckers.
But yeah, everybody was hitting me up. Yeah. So everybody was hitting me up, and everybody was trying to say that what I was doing wrong in my life and all this stuff and what
You keep breaking up. It keep freezing.
I need to be.
Marco, Big Swahili, you're.
And it's all that sugar. Yeah.
It keeps freezing. This makes no sense. I think you frozen right now. Say something.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's my connection.
I'm checking my connection. I don't see that where it's went out. It's not mine. I don't believe it is. What is this?
Well, it looks like I'm looking at my waves. All of mine looks dead on. I'm looking at the computer. I see that I'm freezing up more, so it's probably on my end here. Let me see if it catches up. Here, let me do something. Let me do something real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Let me turn on if my phone's working, the home Wi-Fi. Like, be on standby for me for a little bit.
Sure.
And we'll
no problem.
See if it's.
We're on standby. Sorry for the wait, ladies and gentlemen. We're having little technical difficulties, but we're getting things back in order. Trust me.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about this. Is it connected now?
Yes. Seems a lot better, but you have to keep talking.
Okay. So let me see here. Let me see.
Yeah, it looked like it caught up.
All right, there you go.
Yeah. Somebody.
Yeah, you caught up now?
Yes, it's like catched up. I can see it, like the seconds and everything is adding up again.
Okay, so everything is on point.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Let me call Brianna. There you go. Hey, Bree, could you bring me a phone charger, please? Thank you, babe. I'm using my phone's Wi-Fi, and I don't need the phone shutting off on me, so that would be horrible. But what did I leave off of in the meantime?
Oh gosh, let's see. You were talking about the
scream of despair and all of that, and then woke people hit me up, and
about so the mucus and the meat. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what I ended up learning about this disease when I joined the support group was there are people actually dying and who don't recover at all for a long time. One guy, it took him 30 years to recover, where he actually put a video up of him able to finally walk around Central Park, and he ran. Another lady, it took her like 90 days.
Really?
She recovered with no symptoms. Another guy that I know and I talk to on a regular, and two is black women their numbers are actually more than black men with this autoimmune disease, and which explains a lot. But now you're starting to see more black people get it. It's super rare as it is for Guillain-Barre to be around, but now you're starting to see more instances of it, especially with COVID-19. It sits in you. You don't know you have it until it exists. So there's no way to really test for it preemptively ahead of time to say, oh, you have chances of developing Guillain-Barre. No, you don't know. It just simply doesn't work that way until the symptoms pop up. So with COVID-19 and people, I believe, were dying from Guillain-Barre and not actual COVID-19 initially, because I'm like, she got her beautiful sweater on here. She don't want nobody to see her. Get out of here.
Come on. Hey, Bree. I'm all ghetto. I'm sorry. Okay.
No, it's all right. My sons will run in here. Let me plug this up. They'll run in
That's
here.
dope.
Yeah. And start like automatically tweaking with all the studio gear and turning knobs. And they'll stop, look at the computer screen, and come back and turn, because they're copying off of me and my movements. And I was like, okay, that's dope. Or they'll start banging on a keyboard, then stop, look at the screen, and start banging on the keyboard again. And that's how they get their
beautiful
development from it. Yeah, I love my boys. I love them. And that's what my fight is about right now, even with this disease. But people were telling me what my recovery was going to be, and that it was going to be easy. And I think that was the most disparaging thing, because if I were to base my ideal of recovery off of everybody's expectation of what they read online, for doctors, barely even every other doctor I talked to from this point on probably hasn't dealt with a patient with it, or they dealt with someone with it, and or they've known someone in the hospital who was someone else's patient with it. That's how rare it is. I had doctors from Mizzou coming to the rehabilitation hospital. Like, I hadn't seen a case like this in my whole career. One senior nurse said, he said, Mark, your case, you're the first case I've seen with Guillain-Barre. Nursing students and some of the doctor students are walking there, and it felt weird. It felt like I was a little guinea pig, because, it's a research hospital, so they got all these students there. And so all of them were just asking questions. I'm talking about folks were writing down, taking notes. This is something it was like a circus. This is something you'll never see, barely in your career. The one and only room 136. Our subject is an Afro-American male minus the ball smell.
Oh God, that's terrible.
And he's in the room. and we're gonna show you his condition. And they'll come in, and one time I was masturbating. I was trying to get my shit to work. I'm right
no,
there.
You were not. Marco, I'm sorry.
My mother-in-law basically got lube for me. She didn't know what I needed it for, and so I'm trying to be discreet. Like, could you just get a bottle of Astroglide? You asked me if I needed anything. Could you just get this particular brand of Astroglide? All right. In case you guys don't know what Astroglide is, Big Swahili always keeps it airy with the
Are you getting paid for this?
Astroglide. You want to use the Astroglide when you're diddling your willy.
Okay.
Or even the Kente stroke.
You so silly. That's
not a problem,
Flanders.
by the way. That sits
That's
right there.
Real. Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm right here just concentrating. I feel like, you remember when Bruce Leroy had the power and it was the glow? You got the glow, right? Yeah. I'm in there, and then you can imagine that song just playing. I'm in here just like moving my shoulders, trying to get my hands to work. Group of fucking doctors and the students, the doctor and the students walk in. Bottles on the floor. It slides from under the cover on the floor. My dick is out. The Miller-Fisher syndrome compared with Guillain-Barre, I can't reflex. Everybody's looking at me with a glazed up, glistening, lubricated dick laying in bed. And that's going to be in the movie. When I shoot the film, about it's called Is It Working Yet? Because it's based on one of the biggest concerns once I knew I was going to live was, is my dick ever going to work again, doctor? And every doctor I would ask that to, nurses got concerned too. I'm talking to the nurse like, I'm going to have someone else give my girl the kente stroke. Like, I won't be able to do it. This is a concern. Like, I can't give the stroke. They walk in, and at this point in my life, if you know me, I was OnlyFans before that shit got popular, so I didn't give a fuck what you saw. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sitting there on, like, it's not even hard. It's the worst condition that a penis could be in with viewers. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm like, man, fuck it. Hey, guys, I'm sorry. And random white student, female, oh, it's okay. How many soft dicks have you seen, ma'am? That's what I'm thinking in my head. Like, and so, leave out, and the doctor's like embarrassed. He's standing there like he wants to say something, and he's like, man, you know, well, that was a good illustration on how shit's not working. And we joked about it. He was like, oh, he said, that was actually the best illustration. And I was like, yeah, my concern is my stuff isn't working. And some of them like lingered. The male students were concerned. Like, God damn, this shit isn't working? How do we cure his dick? Right? Somebody, that's where one guy said that, but not that. He was like, is there a remedy to this? I'm like, oh, well, fuck my whole condition. He's talking about the remedy specifically for the erectile dysfunction. Because of the nerves not working in the dick. And I was like, that's my guy right there. He understands me.
Yeah, like, definitely.
And, you know, that happened, and it was a learning. I started to rediscover myself. I started to rediscover my insecurities and everything because of the autoimmune disease. And then I started to rediscover my outlook on life. And, you know, we talked about that, I think last week, the week before last, like my concept of life and existence. It challenged my friendships, and I had to reconstruct my concepts of friendships and our expectations of friends, right? For instance, my close folks were there. People I didn't expect to showed up. I'm not a super religious guy, but to have Pastor or Reverend Lee and his wife and Shawnice and her husband show up, show support, that was powerful. I didn't know how to take that. I didn't know. It was so positive and shit. Everybody that popped up, you know. I even had people who wanted to be side chicks.
What the freak? What?
Weird.
That is
it was a
weird.
chick I didn't know. She showed up. She was like, Marco, I saw your post. I saw everything. I came here directly for you. And I'm sitting here in the bed like, who the fuck is this bitch? Like, who is this? I was like, man, Bree gonna beat this whole ass. Okay. I don't even know this chick. I'm sitting here like, did I mess up? I didn't do anything. I didn't give anybody else the kente stroke, right? So that was one of those things, funny. Right? And I learned a lot about people. And one thing, this is a message for everyone. Just because they're not there when you're hurting or you're in pain, don't mean they won't want to be. They don't want to be there, and don't mean that they're not there. You know, a person sometimes doesn't need to show up at every goddamn thing. I have people who know my personality. Marco, I know you don't want people visiting you like that. Richard, you're goddamn right. I really don't like it. But then they get here, then I like it. So I don't know which one. I'm conflicted. You get here and I like it, or you stay away and give me space and I like it.
Yeah. Like
you know,
both.
And so it was, yeah, you know, I want both. I want you here and I
want you over there. Like, here and there, okay? I'm like, okay.
At the same time. That's the omnipresence, right? Or
exactly.
Stuff, right?
Exactly. Look.
So yeah, I started you know, that's the Guillain-Barre story. So I'm still recovering. I'm currently disabled. I'm not disabled, if that makes sense. I'm disabled, not disabled. I'm not declared officially disabled, but I can't work right now because, well, I'm gonna declare medically disabled. I'm medically disabled because of me not being able to do something. If I could just do this all day and get paid, I could possibly do it, but I can't do it every day because what happens is the worst condition I have of this autoimmune disease is I go through rapid fatigue where everything shuts down. My arms, legs shut down, and I get tired. And wherever I'm at, I'm sleeping on the floor or the ground, or I'm laying slumped. And Brianna can't do anything to wake me up out of that. And someone can come in the house and try to do something. Or the spider that's in my studio again. I think she's watching me. She always watches me. Anytime I'm here working, she comes out.
That's
she comes
nice.
out. She's up there.
That's
yeah,
cute.
yeah. So look at her. Hey, and I think she's one of the jumpy kind. So if you see some jump on me, and I'm not moving fast because of Guillain-Barre, but I'm panicking about a spider, that's why.
Hell yeah.
But like, you know, a guy could break in the house, and if I'm on that crash period, I can't do anything. Right. That's what I try to protect against. So I try not to do too much, but social media and music have been like those primary outlets for me. And living with it, this situation, or, you know, this autoimmune disease, living with it, you're always weary about vaccinations. You're always worried about getting sick. My concern is that I might end up getting COVID, and I go through a rapid degradation with this disease, and the doctors think it's just COVID, and they're not treating that, and my lungs and everything shut down.
Right.
And so that's why if you have this type of autoimmune disease, in the back of a lot of vaccines or vaccinations, because people don't fucking read, right? People don't read their vaccination. It says that if you have a parent on some of them, or you're related to someone with an autoimmune disease, you don't have to have this vaccination because it could possibly trigger it. That's how it works. And so that's one of those things that I was kind of explaining to people and just showing out there, just providing more information like that. So, yeah. What's the next question? I don't want to be just talking. What's the next one?
I mean, yeah, I got you and everything. I just find your story really amazing, and the fact that you're here with me today talking about it, because I was one of those people that could not be there physically for you. And I mean, I tried my best to check up on you and stuff like that, but I felt like if I was in Missouri, I would have been there, like, period. No questions asked or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And the way the way my bank account set up, I couldn't help in that way either. You feel me? So I could just
It's okay. Like,
I know it is.
With the universe, you know, it's just all about us being there at the time we're supposed to be in there. The timelines that we have for each other and the timelines that exist for us through the grand architect of the universe is the timeline that we need to be there. You can't force a timeline sometimes. And that's why when folks aren't there for you when you feel they should be, it might not be written into the timeline. You can't hold that against people. You don't know what other people are going through. You know, my situation was a situation, but my situation wasn't the only situation. Mm-hmm. You know, it was folks down the hall crying. They had to take somebody else out, and, you know, in the bag, you know, that was horrible. Listening to a family lose someone and they don't know what to do. And watching a kid lean against my door and look in at me, and the only thing I can do at that time was to be able to move when I was getting after the second dosage, a thumb up and a smile, and tears in his eyes, and he did that back. And, you know, this little 7-year-old was just, the world crashed on him. And so to just, you know, that's the only thing I was able to do. And my smile was ugly. I looked like Two-Face because this was still, I was like, you know, but it was, it taught me a lot. So there's that on that, the Guillain-Barre story. I'm still recovering. I'm still trying to do some shit. I'm taking it as a blessing. Like, God knew how to sit my ass down. It's like he went through the list of shit that can fuck me up, and they're like, your liver's healthy. It's remarkable. You drink and your liver is like this. Your kidneys are immaculate. Your lungs are great. Every organ is like textbook perfect. And God was like, hit the blunt. Hit him with the shit.
Damn, for sure.
Imagine if Trump was God. That's how I embody God. Or God's substitute decision maker. It's Trump.
You was funny, Marco. I'm so done. I'm so done with you. But no. Okay, so now that we have that story in place, I want to talk more about your entertainment aspect as far as music goes, and you just had created a web series because you're a film director too. And I want to talk about that because I did like see the first episode and I was just like, you know, kind of blown away and everything. I'm trying to go through my notes because there's something specifically I want to ask you about. Well, just talk about the web series on YouTube. How did that come about, period? Like, how did you gain all the actors?
So the actors are already creatives who existed in the community, and they're great people. They're good folks. First, before I keep going, I want to bring up the Steampunk Dugout is another one of my sponsors.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
He's Christopher's an amazing guy. I'm just bringing this up real quick as I get ready to round out the rest of the story because I brought up creatives around me. Well, this right here, and you know, it's great for tobacco or whatever it might be that you would like to put in there. He has the steampunk, a real, true steampunk design. You know, a little pipe here for you to put your tobacco in. In this case, I'm smoking Red Man.
Okay.
Or for the time being, and if you want to contact this guy for the right stuff. But the Steampunk Dugout, you can get these things, and you should order one. As a matter of fact, let's do if you want to. It'll come out of my pocket. Let's hop back on here next week and do a giveaway.
Cool. Let's do it. I'm down. I'm down. I'm down.
And I'll mail it to the person personally and stalk them on social media to share it. This man was an angel. He fell out the sky with the manna I was trying to collect, and he brought me fruits from the tree of life and knowledge.
Amen.
And you know, and it was perfect. So, but yeah, that's what keep seeing me puff on something. That's what I'm puffing on. I mean, he's a great guy. And I'm gonna talk more about him later on tonight.
Okay.
So,
but back to Eye of Shards.
Eye of Shards. So that was Grind or Gerard Arvell, April Heckemeyer, who was my co-director, who helped me in the background. We were at her house and she allowed us to shoot. It was kind of cool because how the chandelier look and the light the scenes look really vintage.
Yes.
And then there was Asaya. Asaya was the other actor, played the wife.
Yeah.
And it came up because I wanted to tell, and I'm still planning to tell, the story. And Paula was the sister. I'll explain her role later. But I wanted to explain a story of not necessarily witchcraft, but I wanted to talk about witches. I want to tell a story about witches in their everyday lives. So the story isn't really centered around the husband, the guy who we assume is the main character. It's centered around the lives of all of the witches that exist in this universe that I was creating, because this universe goes with my Negro Slender character I'm working on. And this storyline also goes with the other one called Timber Lane, which it's about this street of where all the characters live. They all live on the same street through all of these storylines. And so you might see an action film and the guy lives on the street with my comedy series. So that's how my universe is not a universe, it's a neighborhood. So I'm building up my stories around one neighborhood, and one day I hope to really take it to the next level and shooting it. So that's why the story with the witches is important, because it's talking about these witches and their whole world. They live in an existence that we can't fathom. Like there's different academies, and there's not academies, but like different classes of witches who hang around these witches, or who were brought in to their craft by other specific witches. And they have these basically every city is a city that these witches are from. So if you're in Chicago, there's an existence or a city of these witches that exist that you don't know about. It's not one community, it's the city. They're in government, they're poor, they're rich, they have their own existence. And that's what I want to build that story up with, but revolving it around the guy character who isn't the main character. It's the witches, but and how different things going on. So if you watched it, there's no use of visible magic you see, but there is. The reason why the clock was important because the wife controls time. She can create time loops in a space.
So
That's
cool.
her power. That's why you kept seeing
Love
that.
it.
Everything you see
it.
happening is happening until that time loop is broke. It's continuously happening. He's every night that he dies, because he's dead, and he always wakes up in a different purgatory. But the next day, he wakes up and goes to work. You see him come out the store. You see him do everything normal again. The same thing you saw in the first episode. You see him repeat the same thing every episode for the first season. But we had the halt shooting because the actor, Isaiah, she's going to be a great entrepreneur, by the way, but she's going to be on her way out the door, leaving out of town, going elsewhere. And so I was consulting with my team, which is myself and April, and I was sitting there like, I really want to take this to the next level. So what I have to do is I have to reinvent, not too much. I'll just be replacing her character I have to replace her character with another character. It's unfortunate because this is around the time where I'm getting anamorphic lenses in and I'm about to shoot this like the biggest. You're going to think this was an actual Netflix or a movie series. You're going to think this was shot by Universal Studios when I finish with it.
Really.
Yeah. You know what? Almost losing my life made me want to gain more life and not give a fuck what anyone thinks anymore. So that's why I was like, you know what? Yeah, that's that Kente stroke,
Yeah.
But made me want to push to do this stuff. It's a fight because we're always thinking about how to be effective in doing it. But that film is going to. I wanted to empower all the weird girls.
Yeah. Woo!
Let them know how powerful. Because that's all the chicks who hit me up. Oh my God, Marco. Thank you, because people think that magic is this and this and this. In that ritual, you did your homework. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And she was like, I understand. I think I understand the cornfield. Right? Everybody wants to think of what purgatory is. I think that when all of us die, we don't go to like a waiting place to go into heaven. I don't think that heaven is not real.
No, it's not.
Heaven is not real. It's not. There's no place you go and you're magically getting along with everybody in existence. Universe is chaos. Chaos is universal. Conflict is forever. Baby, live long, die hard with the Kente stroke. So that's how I look at things. So he exists in this purgatory, which is this cornfield. And in this cornfield, he's being hunted. You're going to see it later on. He's being hunted by a creature that it took me some time, but I developed how the creature's going to look. It's going to be hideous.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. Dang.
He doesn't know he's running from something. It's that the concept of pressure. And when you watch anything I produce, you hear pressure. The song, Are We Ready for Takeoff? Well, the first thing you hear is pressure. What you're hearing is pressure. It's not a space shuttle. It's what pressure sounds like to me, like white noise.
Yes. Yeah.
That pressure.
Pressure.
Anytime there's something like that, I always want to induce pressure acoustically for people to connect with. So when you see him in the cornfield, he hops up. It's that pressure. Nature naturally produces pressure. You go into an area of the woods that you're not supposed to be in.
Yeah.
You feel it.
Hell
you walk
yeah.
a little close by a certain room in the dark, and you know something's not right about this room. You feel the pressure. You're not supposed to go in that room.
Nada.
In your own house.
Nada.
Look down in the basement. Something's not right. You're not supposed to go down there. Something's happening down there.
Yeah, something is happening. Yep.
Something is happening around you. And I believe, in little portals opening up. This looks so suggestive. I'm lighting my tobacco in this little pipe.
That's
and I'm
okay.
talking about like portals and shit. They're gonna call. There are people gonna be like, this dude's freaking losing it. But yeah, what you about to say?
You said you talk about portals. Do you think what happened in space with the two black holes colliding together, do you think that opens some type of portal here on Earth for 2020, since everything that happens in space is visualized in the past? So that happened, what? The two holes colliding together happened, what, 20 billion years ago? That's a long time.
We just observed it, yeah.
And we're just observing it. So do you think that has any, the two black holes, literally the number 2, it's 2020. This is 2020. All this weird shit is happening on Earth right now, from the protest to the I can't even think right now. Hell, the election, the virus. Come on, man. All this shit
just last week, we had the first time ever, not only the two black holes, but 2 hurricanes merging on land.
Together.
First time ever in our lives have we seen 3 tropical storms roll across the United States, and they gave the storm a name. It hit us, it hit Illinois, it hit Chicago, it hit you guys hard with the rain too, right? It was like torrential rain and just dropping.
Lights
rain
went out
we've never seen
everywhere. Yeah,
lights went out, and then and only the first time ever in recorded history, a fire tornado warning was issued 2 weeks ago during the forest fires, and some are still fighting it, by the way. But the fire tornado, they had to warn residents of that, right? It's so much stuff going on. The night before last, I'm outside. I'm grilling a little steak. I see the moon. I say, this moon is different. I take a picture. I post a picture up of it, and how the moon looks with the infrared information pulled from it, it's red. It's blood. It's a war moon. It's a moon that warriors are meant to fight and die under proudly, no matter the outcome of their death. That was the type of moon that was. Yeah. It's the universe. I feel like something's happening somewhere else, and it's happening here too. And I think the universe only ends when all of this chaos that happens, it just envelops. It causes an implosion on itself. So I'm not worried about our existence, because our existence is so significant compared to the universe. But it's the pressure. You feel that pressure, right? What we talked about. You feel it. I feel it. We all feel it. It's in the air. It's the reason why everybody's buying ammunition. It's the reason why everybody's getting armed and purchasing firearms and shit. You know, that's what that pressure induces. It induces that sense of urgency that you didn't know you had. It's a primal thing. Imagine if all of us could just be family on Earth. That would be amazing. I would love raising our children at that point, not just mine, not just yours, not just anyone else's, but all of our children, to chase the stars. Like, guys, we're going to take an adventure. We're going to a new planet. We're going to go to Mars, and we're going to cultivate Mars with broccoli. We're going to grow broccoli on Mars, guys. Y'all ready for this field trip? Well, everybody load into the spaceship. Everybody loads up. All the kids are happy.
Bus.
White, black, Asian, Chinese, don't matter. Their religious beliefs. At this point, religion is null. Because if we get to space, the concept of religion and the belief of it cease to exist. Because how do you explain space with the story of theology? You can't, because theology says...
That's so true. That is so true.
Yeah. Because at that point, the concept of having a... One second here. Give me a second.
Okay. I'm just looking for the next question, because we have to get to the music. We got to get to the music.
Oh, yeah, we are.
Got
Hold on a second here. I'm trying to make sure.
What are you trying to do?
Together. Somebody just messaged me.
I think, something interesting, I hope. Something interesting, I hope. Yeah. It's like everything that you're talking about with the space and time and religion, it all makes, like, it's kind of confusing, but it makes sense at the same time, you know? So I could agree to that. Like if we all just packed up and went to go live on Mars or Saturn or whatever planet that we could that's closer to the Earth's atmosphere, I don't think that religion would be a factor in it. I really don't, because it's something bigger than just religion. You know, I think there's truth to every religion. Call me crazy, but I think there's truth to every religion. Like, there's not just one religion that's the right religion. It's not like a pick and choose this or that. You know what I mean? Those are just my thoughts. You got it. Yeah. But yeah, that's head on right there. It's just, but I just want peace. You know, I think that's the thing with a near-death experience. You start realizing that, you know, we could be much more advanced than where we are. And hopefully generations to come, they look back at us like dumbasses and laugh. And we're more comical in our history than we are. I think this is the most comical part of history, human history right now, because we had a toilet paper rush. We have people thinking that a virus is fake because a politician says it and they're refusing. They look at a mask as a, think of how stupid this sounds. Looking at a mask as if it's a political statement. Like, you're wearing this, that means you support Trump. Like, well, no, it's because I have an autoimmune disease. I'm just trying to be precautious. And then people listen to a guy who works at Taco Bell say those masks really don't work, before they listen to a doctor or the guy who invented the actual mask say, oh no, they work and they can be reused. I'm going to show you. I'm the inventor of them. You think about it, a guy who makes money off of these masks is telling people how to, he knows it's a real thing, and he's telling people how to wash their mask properly and cleanse it to reuse it. He's not making money off of that. Think about that. Right. And where everybody else is, you know, it's easier to push the terror. It's easier to push it, you know. That's so true.
That's kind of crazy. So that's where we are with that, right? It's that whole thing of life, and you know, you want people to understand that life is a good thing. But yeah, let's get to the music though. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, let's switch things up a little bit, you know, for the listeners and the viewers out there. I want to talk about your role in music. Big Swahili, you've come a long way with your sound, and one particular track, well, I want to talk about both tracks. I want to talk about Round of Applause, and I want to talk about Takeoff. So I'm just going to start off with what we just got through talking about, because it's all leading up to something. Round of Applause, okay. I could imagine literally when I was listening to that track, I could hear Trump's voice said, them son of a bitches, and you know, they're all criminals, and can I get a round of applause? You know how he sound or whatever. I felt that, and I could imagine it, and it was almost kind of creepy. And I'm gonna tell you why it was kind of creepy for a number of things. The topics in which you touched on in your music. You know, you talked about war, you talk about protest, you talk about constitutional, systematic racism. Come on, man. You hit all the points that are aggravating society right now, you know what I'm saying? So what I have to ask you is, not even ask you yet, I want to go to the hook. People, you all hear this song on Spotify, but right now we're talking about it. When you say in the hook, how do you sleep at night when the shots rang out last night? How do you go to sleep? We in the middle of a fight. That's talking about some things that's happening right now. And I'm gonna tell you one thing before I ask you the question, because it's very important. You said in the verse, broken fronts in front of stores fronts. They make black bodies fold and scream, fonts like broken croissants. Our sons don't want 7 shots in the body of one. When did you write this song, Mark? When did you write this song, Big Swahili?
I wrote that song literally hours before I sent it to you. So when I messaged you, I was like, yo, check the song out, right? You know, that song was written like last Tuesday. Last Tuesday. The feeling of the song exists already in me, and you know, and I did the song, and when I finished it, I was like, I'm gonna share it. I'll share it with people who I know will be real with me and let me know what they think. Sometimes I just spam people with a song. People I know though, people I love, people who know me.
For sure.
That's the only people I spam with music. I still do that. But it was one of those things where, when I wrote that, it was in a way to kind of explain how broken Black people feel, because when you say, the part with the broken fronts in front of storefronts, they make black bodies fold and scream bold like croissants.
Yeah.
It was the whole concept of we're screaming, we're yelling. There's a reason behind all of this. That's it. Listen to us. And the only thing, because broken fronts is like the police, the people, the system, the people, but even amongst the people, they're all broken because of different things. I sat there and heard an ignorant ass guy say, I can't support gay people being in our movement. I say, bro, what about fairies? He was like, what? I said, if you got a guy like me who likes to, dress up like a panda bear and have my dick out to get some business going on, what about guys like me who have a sexual preference of being a fairy? He's like, man, it don't even make sense. Why are you doing that? Because I like to do it. Sometimes you give the kente stroke to different ways. It's like something wrong with a guy dressing up inside a suit being a part of the movement. It was like, the nigga, as long as he ain't out here trying to fuck people, some, I guess, whoever it is. He says, that's weird, but I guess. I say, so wait, so you're saying it's okay for me to have a preference personally, and as long as I'm not out there with my penis out, then you're okay with that? It's like, yeah. I say, so why is it you have an issue with other people and their preferences, or other people in their sexualities? I think about how fucking stupid the fucking argument is. You're concerned with what a person does with their privates. This is essentially what it boils down to.
Yeah.
And I hate when people say it's an agenda and shit, because most of the folks who say it come from broken homes and have never seen love, so they have to blame their improficiency on other shit.
That's so true.
What a person does with the dick is what they're blaming. Their insecurities and the shit they can't accomplish in life and because it's easy to blame the other, right? I get mad at conservatives all the time, but conservatives aren't the problem. They're part of the problem. Liberals can be a big ass chunk of the problem. You come across a liberal white lady who claims that she's here for your people. She don't give a fuck about your people. It just looks good up on Facebook. It looks good up on social media because you're a nigger. You're a nigger when she's mad. And so that's why that leads into the whole racism thing in the songs, is that no, politically, everyone is responsible for racism. People hate when I say Black people can't be racist. They want us to be what they do so well. If we were able to do what they did so well with racism, we would own the system. You would see a different America if Black people could dish out racism. Racism has to be connected to a system. United States of America is the only country in the world where the construct and the evidence of racism exists in its constitution. 3/5 of a fucking 3/5 of your vote. Your vote as a Black person. 3/5.
Indeed.
That if we was really a post-racist society, we would remove, not nullify it with another, we would remove that shit. We would remove that shit. The concept of that could be moved out the way. But you know why? Because racism and white supremacy can exist systemically, and when it's always been there, it's hard to spot. It's the reason they don't want Black people in the suburbs. But you tell that to a white person that don't know, well, Marco, it's people's neighborhood. It's not that they don't want you there. They don't want the other people that are there to be there. Like, you mean other people that are Black? Because we're like roaches.
Right.
We're roaches, baby. We don't die, baby. We multiply. right? That's what they want to say. That's what they want to say. That's the ones who are about that life. They want to say it. They want to say black people are roaches. They're an abomination. We need to exterminate them. And that brings me to my next fucking point. If you are a man or woman of melanin, you better get yourself a gun.
Damn.
To protect yourself. See, we're always responsive. Black people are responsive, right? We're not responsible.
Right.
We don't own the system. We don't control the system. We're not the system doesn't represent us.
That's true.
Right? Who the system represents are those who can control the concept of what we are fighting, which is racism. Though we're the only country in the world where other countries come to study racism historically.
Wow.
You know, Hitler got his motivation for what he does and what he did from America. They don't teach you that in the books, but
No,
it's
they
there.
don't.
He studied what they were doing, not only with segregation and the segregationists, but he pulled a lot from that and applied the same toolkit Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
If a country can do that, if a dictator can do that, and you want to say, and that was the 30s, 40s, something, right? And you want to sit here and tell me that racism doesn't exist or it's not an issue like you guys make it, then I'll say y'all missing the bigger picture, because now they can't even fly the damn Nazi flag. They're flying the fucking Confederate flag. Why are Nazis and Nazi sympathizers flying the Confederate flag? Dickwad? Like, why?
Big Swahili, I want to stay focused on the music because you got a lot to say and I love it.
Sorry, but that's what all is in the music. You know, that's what goes into it. It's the
It
only way I
does.
can scream now.
And that's beautiful. You scream through a lot of things that you do, but I want to go back to I want to go back to the question about take off. Now, this song, like, I need to know, like, you wrote it last week. You wrote it pretty quickly and everything like that. What elements were you influenced by, so to speak? Like, literally, like, it has to be what happened to that young man, Blake Jacob, and Kenosha.
The last part,
the 7 shots in one body.
The 7 shots in one body. But here's the catch: if you had known my best friend, like the last album, I did a song about my best friend's uncle being murdered by the police, and he had 7 shots in his back. That's really what I was referencing. So this shit is still happening. That was 15, 16 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
A black man slumped over a tree, shots in his back while he slumped over a big ass oak tree, laid out sideways. He's over it. And no one could explain why were the bullets entering into the tree from an angle. No one got an answer. I remember that. And I remember watching my best friend cry and break down and not, at that point, he hated the cops. And this guy went on to be, just one of those folks, that's one of those things right there,
Right.
But.
And what about the song Take Off? Because just the simple creativity of it. Like, it's like we're all on this plane and the pilot is telling us, you ready for takeoff? You ready for takeoff?
Mm-hmm.
What's the concept behind that?
Concept. The concept of that was my spiritual world. That, are we ready for takeoff? Right? That, it was like, if my spirit was leaving and I was able to take other people with me, and we say, we're going to leave our bodies and we're going to go, guys. We're going to go somewhere else because of all this racism and hate. And that's what the song is about. It's about that. It's about making sure that there's a space that exists for us. Why can't we leave and go there? Let's just leave the planet. Let's go somewhere else. And that's what the song essentially is about. So you're hearing the liftoff But I'm always asking, Ari, something happens today, another black man dead. I look to the sky, yo, mothership, where are you?
Where are you? The motherboard.
Yeah, we're ready to get on. Just come and get us. We don't want to be here no more. This planet ain't meant for us. And so that's what that song is about. So. Okay,
well, I just want to tell you my feedback on it. I love that song, just for the simple fact that I did get that spiritual takeoff, you know? I really did. And listening to your music, you're unlike any other artist that I listen to. You're very prophetic with your words and how you describe things. Now, there hasn't been a set of topics that I would feel even comfortable speaking about unless I heard it in your song. So that's how influences me as an artist, period, like as a person, you know. It makes me comfortable to say, hey, you know, if Big Swahili can get on the track and make you think about it like that, then I can feel freely to speak about it as well, you know. So I'm gonna feel comfortable talking about gentrification. You know why? There's black people not in the suburbs, but it's just the opposite. They're trying to get us back in the city, in the projects, and they're coming out here. Yep. But we're not gonna get into all that. But you know, it's refreshing. Your music is refreshing. That's all I can really say. And I like things that make me think because I'm a reader. I like to read, you know. So, and I really like to read music. So, your Harvest, the new upcoming album is called The Harvest, correct?
Yeah, it's called The Harvest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reese Young. Reese Young actually gave the name.
Okay, Reese. All right, Reese. All right. Shout out to Reese Young. So he gave you the name, he gave you the concept and everything. What was your first initial thought when he came to you with that title?
When he came to me with the title, and he said you should name it this, right? And I was like, yeah, The Harvest would be dope, yeah, because you know, he was basing it off of me gardening instead. And so I'm always talking to Reese about my garden. Like, really, he doesn't even fucking garden, but just my brother, he's gonna hear this shit. And so I'm gonna talk about my brother, talk to my brother about me gardening. And that's what I did. And so when I heard it, I immediately thought about my concept of life, like how I look at everything. I was like, yo, this is dope. I'm thinking aliens, and he probably wasn't thinking this, but I'm thinking aliens, a huge spaceship in the middle of a field, and kids are under it. Yeah. You see, you're catching it now.
Oh, boy.
You're catching it, yeah.
That was deep.
Kente stroke. That's what that's about.
I felt that.
It's that Kente stroke.
I got you.
You just look. Yeah, we've been going at this in this interview, and you feeling the stroke. You got the Kente stroke.
I felt it. Right there.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. So now you understand how I connect everything from my visuals to my music.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Amazing. Yes. Brilliant. You are phenomenal.
Okay.
Very much so.
I can't do the Kente stroke loud because the boys are asleep.
Okay, we gotta keep it down now. We gotta keep it down for the babies. Okay. Now, Big Swahili, I want to get into the ending of the interview. This is a game I specifically came up for you. It's not really a game, but it's just, I need you to answer these questions in less than 60 seconds. You feel me?
Okay, I might suck. Let's do it.
Suck away. All right. This game is called Out of This World Questions. Let's get it.
Okay.
Big Swahili, why do you think people take life for granted?
Because they don't know they exist again. They don't know that when they die, they're going to have another life. So they take life for granted because they're reckless with it and they don't know the value. And so when they repeat the next loop, that's when they'll figure shit out.
Great answer. Do you believe God is real? Why or why not?
I believe God is a concept, and we want God to be this cool Republican guy with a beard who says, "Welcome to heaven." And I don't really think that's God. I think the universe and the grand architect of the universe, whatever energy force that is the grand continuum we live on and within us and within existence. The concept of theology is created by us. I can create a religion right now. In 500,000 years, people will follow it and they'll believe it. And that's the religion. I can just base it off of a Mickey Mouse character, and somehow people will link that to their existence. I think we all have the universal knowing of life in us. It's just tapping into that.
Yeah, it's just tapping into that realm. I agree with you 100%. What do you believe is humanity's greatest downfall?
Humanity's greatest downfall is that we refuse to advance.
Ooh.
We refuse to advance. We keep finding things to hold us back. We're supposed to be a type 1 civilization right now. This one guy did some weird study, and he was like, hey, we're in 20 years, we can be a type 1 civilization if we all work together. We can have the real version of Enterprise versus a cartoon or a show. The real Enterprise could exist if we work together. But working together means giving up self-agency a little bit, and we're not gonna do that shit.
Damn. I mean, well, I think some of us are more willing to do it than others, but yeah.
Yeah.
What are your
blast
thoughts?
Off with those.
Definitely. We're really about to blast off with this one, but what are your thoughts on reincarnation, which we already had this discussion, but tell the people.
Mm-hmm. So in my upcoming audio book that I'm working on called I Don't Believe That Chuck Norris Will Ever Really Die, right? One part in one of the chapters that I cover is the concept of what life is. When I was laying in a hospital bed, the sadness came over me because I was like, man, these people feel familiar. This one nurse came in. Her soul, I only seen her once. Her soul was nice. Everything was nice. And I said, you were probably my sister in another life. And she says, you know what? It's something about you. We probably were related. And then from those experiences, encounters where, you ever come across somebody that just feels familiar?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's like,
yes.
Deja vu exists, but when deja vu happens, look around you.
Yes.
Right? That's what this concept is about. Look around, who's around you? Because whoever's around you, you know them. Maybe not in this life.
Yes.
In the next life,
yes.
you know them. And so I look at existence like that. Like that's why the concept of everything, it's like opening a soda, right? And it's not the best illustration, but if all the bubbles were just bubbling up here, but then I want you to take that same soda and invert it, like those two colliding stars,
mm-hmm.
right? Or black holes.
Yes.
You invert it. And when you invert it, the bubbles, there's an equilibrium. There's a point at which all the bubbles exist at the same time that other bubbles are dying out.
Oh.
You have multiple existences of the same bubble from the same point in the cup existing at the same time that it's dissipating to continue on with new life. And I look at our lives and the concepts of our spirits like that. Humans, we're androids. We're just a clone race of beings. I believe that we were the real aliens and we got stuck here. But that's a whole nother conversation.
I see. Yeah, you right about that, honey.
That's the thing. Like, and when I look at life, I think that me and you were probably related, or me and you probably were husband and wife, or me and you were brother, sister, sister, grandpa, niece. I believe that everyone has some sort of connection with each other spiritually. And I can challenge that by when we talk about children who said they existed before. Right? Children who said they existed before, and they exist. There have been children who solved their own murders by saying, when I lived before, I got killed with an axe, and I showed you the article of the real story. I sent that to you,
did.
right? And
Yes.
it's stories like that where kids can go back to the beachfront property that they used to be at, but he died right here in the ocean, and he points where he died, where they pulled his body out, or they find his body buried in the middle of a desert somewhere, and he remembers, he walks them, and they solve the crime, and then next thing you know, they arrest the guy who actually killed them. The birthmark matched with how the kid was killed.
That's crazy.
Every
time I hear it, I know, I believe it.
I know, it's real. That stuff happens, and it's not reported. It's not big. It's a phenomenon. So when you call something a phenomenon, people dismiss it, or you get the scientific people. Why is this happening? There are academic studies done on this. And so that combined with the other stuff, I believe, that's why I was saying we've all already been here. Nothing's new under the sun, literally. And that's why I believe that we are some sort of sentient beings who we build these bodies biologically. This is the greatest vessel. No machine can top the mechanics, can top the existence of this. This whole body is a machine. Hence, when I go back to me having Guillain-Barre and I say you have this crystal clear electromagnetic fluid in your body that's crystal clear.
Crystal clear.
It exists in its own chamber.
Yeah.
Right? We don't know what the battery is. I say, no, we are the battery. We are the light. We are the spark. And so, that's over 60 seconds. I know. Please.
No, but it needed to be said. It needed to be said because that was one of the highlights of our many conversations we've had off air. So I'm glad you said that. But this is the last and final question, and here it is. What legacy do you want to leave to the people? You want the people to remember about you after you're gone?
If I die in 30 minutes and I had to leave a lesson, or a legacy, it would be my words, and such words as this. We are all one continuum on a continuous, spanless journey throughout an existence that is bigger than the most microscopic, but still larger than the most minute mice in existence. And we're on this journey together. Everybody is both significant and insignificant in its expanse. It is up to us to keep adding to the sparks to this continuous, infinite expansion. That's it.
Okay. I like that. I like that a lot. Well, thank you so much, Big Swahili, for coming on Speak Your Mind Radio today. I really appreciate your presence. And one last thing. Do you have any questions for Moa? Just one question, though.
So when are you getting married?
I don't know.
You got to answer. Go ahead.
I don't know. I don't know.
I got a cousin. You got a cousin. He's single. He's a great guy.
I'm taken.
That Kente stroke also.
No.
You're taken.
Yes.
You can have two guys. Actually, you cool with the poly thing?
No.
I'm pretty sure, you the type of lady, you need 8 men in your life. You gotta let your guy know this. Like, honey, you gotta walk in there. Like, look, Big Swahili told me this. He told me that I am worthy of 8 men. That's how we should treat women. We should treat women according to how many men they should have. Like, you know what I'm saying? And we make the scale of 8 being the highest, and then we make the minimum 4. So every woman needs 4 men at a minimum.
Damn, right? They make up the schedule,
that type of
not
thinking
me.
Goes, yeah, there you go. You taken care of. You get to walk around with your fur coat, but it's not like real fur because, PETA and stuff, but you get to walk around with the fur coat and everything. Yeah, you love animals, right? So you gotta you walk around with that, and you put on your attitude, and you're like, ma'am, I am an 8-woman man. I mean, I'm an 8-man woman. 8-man woman. And then you
that's
cannot talk to
funny.
me this way. This does not float. You know, that's what you should do. You should let him know that. You deserve it. You're a special person.
Thank you, Big Swahili. Appreciate you. And you're very special too. And your kid power is working. It is activated, sir.
Yes, sir. That's that
All
Kente.
right,
Don't scream this Kente stroke. Scream it. Come on. Go on, scream it.
Kente stroke. Why did I say that?
Pow. That's all it is.
You gonna make me curl.
You
I was
we
about
in
to
this,
cry.
you keep giving the world the stroke. You give them the Kente stroke. All of it. Because you're an awesome person and you possess the power, my sister. My queen.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you guys for tuning in to Speak Your Mind Radio. I'm going to leave that link down below. If you enjoyed today's show, PayPal me at Miss Hip Hop 2020. I'll leave the link below. And then I'll have the Spotify and the audio version of this put up real soon. Peace out, y'all.
How did you sleep at night?
Yeah,
When the shots rang out last night?
yeah,
How did you go to sleep?
yeah.
We in the middle of a fight.
Yo, racism is so systemic, it's written in the Constitution. Black bodies a pandemic and only 3/5 of a resolution. Some niggas can't feed themselves, but they speaking of revolution. Then blame sisters for failed families while black women protest executions of black men. Orange is the new black, said Chapman. PSD in the rap, until the police start clapping. No audience, until the president speaks. Cause racism's so audience, they stand on their feet.
Can I get a round of applause? Can I get a round of applause? They're criminals. Get those sons of bitches.
How did you sleep at night? When the shots rang out last night? How did you go to sleep? We in the middle of a fight. How did you sleep at night? When the shots rang out last night? How did you go to sleep? We in the middle of a fight.
Yo, some men don't think that purgatory affects them. They think that life's a movie and it's a replay of the next film. So the sisters raising men alone know that you gotta protect them. When them niggas get grown, it's generational selection. The system is killing sisters too, and sisters without a weapon. That's why niggas act confused when women say they don't have protection. And white men in the news swear we both are dangerous. As long as the cop hit his target, don't care where the aim was. Death.
Can I